A very good day to everyone. My topic of my research ideas outline is exploring ESL students' engagement and motivation in e-learning among Tamil national type schools. These are the table of contents. The first part will be research issue. Second part will be research objective. Moving on to research questions, research design, population and sampling, research instrument and data collection procedure, data analysis, and the last part is expected findings of the research. The first part, which is research issue or problems. Okay, here I've written unfamiliar with online tools. Okay, why is that so? Is because many students are still unfamiliar with the online tools. Same goes with the teachers. So when they are unfamiliar with the online tools, then it's going to be difficult for them to access to the online learning. And the second one is sudden change of transition. This occurs when the COVID-19 epidemic in Malaysia. Our former Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin established home-based learning to guarantee that teaching and learning activities are not disrupted. Malaysian schools are being urged to move to a virtual learning environment. Even if they are unfamiliar with digital tools, teachers must transition to an online learning environment. Hereby, teachers need to replan, recreate, and rethink in a very short period of time. It is a responsibility and an obligation that high school instructors have never dreamed or envisaged. Integrating ICT in schools offers benefits and drawbacks, but trying to do so in the midst of a pandemic will be a challenge. Students and instructors were obliged to undergo a crash course in digital tools, techniques, and teaching methods as a result of this reality. When online school played a critical role during the epidemic, the term panigogy was coined because everyone was panicked and they were not ensure to they were not sure what to do. Besides that, lack of hands-on experience. Some teachers were still lacking the hands-on experience on using the digital tools, and students were also lack of communication during the online learning. So these were the issues or problems found in online learning, whereby it affects the students' engagement and motivation. Research objectives. There are three research objectives. The first one is to explore students' levels of engagement and motivation in online learning. The second one is to investigate the effectiveness of online learning in English language. And the third one is to understand the reasons that demotivate any student from pursuing online class. How are the students' engagement and motivation levels during online learning? Does online learning improve students' English language? What barriers faced by students during online learning? The research design used for this research is a mixed method, which is quantitative and qualitative. Okay, this is because it combines the advantages of both quantitative and qualitative research. Mixed methods can help to get a more complete picture than a single quantitative or qualitative study. When the two forms are combined, you get the advantage of both qualitative data's rich, contextual insights and quantitative data's generalizably externally valid insights. For example, quantitative studies frequently fail to reflect your participants' life experiences. Therefore, integrating qualitative data to your quantitative results enhances and deepens the quantitative findings because qualitative studies are generally limited to the experiences of the participants. Integrating quantitative data which might help to confirm the qualitative conclusions. Besides that, mixed method is less constrained by disciplines and research paradigms. They allow you to integrate parts of multiple types of studies to extract the most informative data, giving you the freedom in planning your study. Population and funding. Okay, there were 135 students selected from year 4, 5 and 6. Three different schools which are from rural, suburban and urban. The reason of choosing three different schools, three different areas so that we will know whether does the place of school located affects the online learning, the students' motivation and engagement in online learning. And random sampling was done. Okay, a reason for random sampling, because random sampling enables for the creation of unbiased estimates which, which elevate the expense of research efficiency. The sample takes place within predefined parameters that govern the procedure. The statistics can give precise insights into certain topic issues because the random sample represents the complete population. The method that gives the study an inherent fairness because no previous knowledge about the people or things involved is incorporated in the data gathering procedure. Because of the techniques for random sampling, any data obtained can yield results for a broader time period because the findings have no bias. So this is the reason why we choose random sampling. Research instrument and data collection. The quantitative research design we chose in questionnaire, 135 students were chosen, whereby 15 students from each class were selected, which means 15 from year 4, year 5 and year 6. For the qualitative data, we choose 9 students for the open-ended questions. We used open-ended questions for the interview. And the procedures used was sequential explanatory design. The reason we used explanatory sequential mixed method design to integrate the data is because we used the quantitative uh, design first, whereby we distributed the questionnaire to the students, we collected the questionnaire, we tabulated the data, and then we interviewed 9 students. We choose 9 students based on the questionnaire, and then we interviewed them. Thus, we did the quantitative first, followed by the qualitative. We used open-ended questions because it will enable the researcher to gain insight about the respondents' feeling about online learning in depth. The researcher will also be able to see the respondents' facial expression and body language too, which will also provide some leading tips on the researcher's research problem. Next one is data analysis. Two types here. One is the quantitative. We used cross-tabulation data. This strategy is recommended since it draws inferences between distinct data sets in a research study using a simple tabular form. It comprises information that is either mutually exclusive or has some relationship to one another. Raw data is presented in a comprehensible manner utilizing data analysis methods for the quantitative data. There are several steps in analyzing the questionnaire. For example, the first one, a mean is the average of a set of values for a given variable. The midway of a variable's value scale is called the median. The most typical value for a variable is called the mode. Frequency refers to the number of times a certain value appears on the scale. The minimum and maximum values, whereby the values of the lowest and highest point on a scale. Percentages, whereby an expression format for scores and collection of values for variables. These are the most important things that we need in a quantitative data collection, especially using a questionnaire. So once the data is put in a table form, we transfer it into the SPSS system, whereby it generates the mode, mean, median and descriptive statistics. Based on the descriptive statistics, it is to be assumed that more than average amount of students have high level of motivation and engagement in online learning. Moving on to the next part, which is quantitative. Once we get the quantitative data, we move on to the qualitative data, which is we use thematic analysis, coding, inductive coding specifically. The questions will be analyzed based on the thematic analysis. Assigning codes to phrases and words in each response aids in capturing what all the response is about, allowing to better evaluate and summarize the results. To make data-driven judgments based on client input, researcher employed coding as well as other qualitative data analysis procedures. This makes things simpler to assess and analyze the client satisfaction with more precision. By using thematic coding, it identifies the themes in text by examining word meanings and sentence structure. When using thematic coding, we evaluate client feedback. For example, we may figure out which themes are the most common. This enables us to have a precise and practical understanding of what drives client pleasure. We used inductive coding, which is also known as open coding, because it begins with a blank slate and produces codes depending on the qualitative data. We don't need a predetermined code book. All the codes come from the survey results themselves. Once we have decided with the coding, the interview questions are placed in a table with the codes. Researcher then analyzes the response based on the codes. The last part is the expected finding. We expect the findings to be positive, whereby the e-learning technology facilitates knowledge availability, resulting in students developing a good attitude toward it. This conclusion is based on the usefulness, self-efficacy, ease of use, and student behavior when it comes to e-learning. The study is to confirm the benefits of e-learning, such as the ability to study from any place, which is not available with traditional face-to-face learning. The study's main findings are to show that students' behavioral intention towards e-learning are encouraging and positive. It is envisaged that students' perceptions of interactive e-learning would have a favorable influence on their satisfaction. But the most significant hurdle that is expected from this research is the lack of social engagement. Thus, for future suggestion, enhancing social interaction in online learning will result in a more effective and pleasurable learning experience. That's all from me. Are the references that I use to conduct this, to elaborate these research ideas outlines. Thank you.